Taking a break from the balance discussion that's been happening recently, I wanted to make this video as a part 2 to my last video regarding the skill expression segment. If you haven't watched my last video, feel free to go watch it. It's only about 5 minutes long, so it's pretty short. Intention in game design is important, but it shouldn't decide the fate of a game. If something unintended appears in a game, but it adds depth, skill expression, receives positive feedback from the players, then why remove it? That's a question I've been pondering about because of behavior's decisions. I wanted to make this video to show some examples from other games that if something unintended appears in a game that ultimately doesn't hinder the experience, then it shouldn't be adjusted. That's how I feel about Skywesker being removed, so I figured I'd show some examples in other games. Up first, I want to talk about a game I recently 100%ed and really enjoy. It's called Ghostrunner. It's a fast-paced, almost Doom-like game without guns. If you get hit once, you die, but if enemies get hit once, they die. In this game, you have a dash ability and a slide ability, which is important to know for what I'm going to show you. But before I actually show you, I need to explain an important mechanic in this game called coyote timing. It's a mechanic a lot of platformer games have that puts a grace period on jumping off platforms to give you a little bit of extra lenience on when you can actually jump. That way, you don't just immediately fall off of whatever you were trying to jump from. Now, what this bug allows you to do is if you dash, slide, and then jump all during this coyote timing, you get sent flying extremely fast, as you can see on screen right now. It's an extremely fun glitch that ultimately does no harm to the experience of the game, so the developers didn't see any reason to remove it. Wave dashing in fighting games is something most fighting game players would be familiar with. In Smash Bros. Melee, they used this tech, while it being completely unintended, the developers left it alone because a very large majority of the player base of Melee enjoyed it so much and they thought it gave the game a bigger skill ceiling that only really affected the higher levels of the game. Wave dashing also gave characters that had poor traction a better chance at maneuvering themselves across the stage. Up next, I have an example from a game called Subnautica, where in this scenario, the developers did remove this, and I'll explain why after I show you what they removed. In the Subnautica speedrun, on the first patch of the game, there was a bug on the side of the Aurora ship that had no collision, and it allowed you to swim through the ship and end up inside without having to do the entire journey through the hull, which was amazing for a speedrun, obviously, but the developers had to remove this, as they were worried that a new player would stumble upon it accidentally, and with it being very challenging to navigate, somebody unfamiliar with it could get stuck, soft-locked, or die and lose all of their progress. This should be setting the standard for the justification of something's removal, as this wasn't something you had to go out of your way to find, and with it being right next to the main objective of the game, new players could very easily accidentally stumble across it and have the game get ruined for them. Thus, the developers had to take action. For the third example, I want to talk about some more speedrunning stuff. Now, I'm very passionate about this game, and I love speedrunning this game. It's called Little Nightmares. I don't speedrun this game too much anymore, but I have a lot of knowledge on this game, so I'm able to use that knowledge for the point I'll be making in this video. In this game, there are tons of speedrun skips that are only possible because of bugs in the game and things that are unintended. Thankfully, the developers never patched any of it. There are plenty of skips in this game that I could talk about, but I'll only talk about the ones that are extremely important to the speedrun itself. Firstly, we have a skip the Little Nightmares speedrunning community dubbed the kitchen skip. This skip is possible by lining yourself up with a green tile on the floor, sprinting across to the opposite side, and sliding towards a doorway, all while being chased by one of the chef enemies. If done correctly, this will wedge your character's hitbox in between the chef's hitbox alongside the wall. Once you've gotten to this point, you should be able to jump up to the right, and it'll push you through the wall, saving about 2 minutes of in-game time, which is a lot in speedrun time. Another super fun skip is the toy box zip skip. This one's pretty simple. All you really need to do is grab a toy box, line it up on a ledge, and grab and slide it in a continuous motion, and it'll cause your character to get flung across the room. A super cool skip for the first boss enemy in the game lets you skip the entire boss fight by baiting a grab from the enemy and doing a mechanic called zero hopping to the boss arena. This allows you to freely destroy the cage and skip the boss fight before it even begins. I want to quickly mention a Reddit post I stumbled upon that states Street Fighter II invented the idea of combos due to an unexpected interaction where inputs for special moves could be done as other moves were hitting, meaning that before the opponent could move again, you could throw out another move. This was a completely unintended consequence of development and technically an exploit, but it's now a fundamental mechanic of all fighting games. Now, when I first saw this Reddit post, I thought this was extremely interesting, considering this paved the way fighting games work to this day. And to be quite honest, I don't know if I would even play fighting games at all, or if they would even be enjoyable if combos didn't exist. So to know that they only exist because of an unintended bug is baffling to me. And this proves that if something unintended appears in a game, developers should look to expand upon it, because without this bug, we wouldn't have combos in fighting games. Now, I don't want this video to be fully negative, so I'd like to spend a quick minute to talk about things that behavior added or changed that rewards skill expression. A few killer add-ons I think that do this greatly are Access Panel from Springtrap. This add-on lets you throw your axe through your security doors, and if mastered, you can link doors intentionally and give yourself amazing levels of anti-loop depending on the map. Another really cool add-on is Lead Ring from Pyramid Head. This add-on rewards you for your accuracy. It shrinks the width of your attack, but it makes it longer, requiring extremely precise shots. Amazing add-on design. Another fun add-on that rewards time spent mastering it is Discarded Milk Carton from Unknown. Not many Unknown players run this add-on, but the ones that do are able to hit UVX shots that are impossible to hit without the add-on. Hopefully you found this video at least a little bit interesting. There's one more thing I want to show you because they bring up amazing points, but I didn't want to just parrot what this person said and bloat my video, so pause to read if you'd like to. Anyways, the key point I'm trying to make with this video is that behavior should be more lenient on what should stay in the game, regardless of intention, because most of the stuff they draw the line at adds depth and skill expression to the game, while not hindering the experience of anyone else. But removing something such as Sky Billy or Sky Wesker does hinder the experience of the player themselves, and makes the game overall feel less enjoyable, while simultaneously removing aspects of the game that gives it depth and gives players skill expression. Thanks for watching.